Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Javier Salazar, Bexar County Sheriff in San Antonio. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today regarding Senate Bill 4. I'm going to keep my remarks brief this afternoon, but I wanted to go on the record regarding this legislation and voice my concerns. Now, I have heard that there have been some amendments that, as I see it, and as from my position, I see them as steps in the right direction. But according to a January 12, 2017 San Antonio Express News article, Bexar County has the second highest population gain of all counties in Texas, second only to Harris County. Our county has a population of more than 1.7 million people, and we're the 11th largest sheriff's office in the nation. So I do take my responsibility to protect and serve my community very seriously. I have the dual responsibilities of enforcing the law on the streets of Bexar County, as well as managing one of the largest jails in Texas. I do have some concerns about this bill and about its possible unintended consequences. As a local law enforcement agency, it's imperative that we maintain a strong relationship with the community we serve. When policies exist that undermine the public trust between law enforcement and surrounding community, including the immigrant community, we risk driving this segment of the population into the shadows, where they are preyed upon by criminals and may even fail to report crimes for fear of negative repercussions, such as being deported. Additionally, my deputies must act in accordance with the law and only conduct law enforcement stops of individuals when articulable, reasonable suspicion exists that a specific crime has been committed. It's our duty, as mandated by law, to only make arrests only when probable cause exists of a crime. My concern with this legislation is that we will see an increase in racial profiling. Stopping or arresting someone based solely upon race or suspected national origin is not acceptable under the law. We have had and will continue to have an excellent working relationship with all of our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, including the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. I've met with Agent Daniel Bible, the San Antonio Field Director for ICE, and will continue to cooperate with him on ICE detainers. We will continue to work together, as always, in the interest of public safety first and foremost. Now, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, once again, I thank you for the opportunity to testify before the committee today. I appreciate you bringing this important subject to the forefront in this hearing, and I strongly urge you to think of the public and the end user, the street officer who's just trying to protect and serve to the best of their ability on a daily basis. Thank you.
Sheriff Salazar,
Yes,
before you
sir.
leave, I think we may have a question or two. I want to make sure for the record you have your name.
Yes, sir. Javier Salazar, Sheriff
Okay,
of Bexar
very
County.
good. Members, are there any questions? Yes.
Sheriff Salazar, I asked the sheriff earlier today, was this bill going to make his community safer, or was it going to make it less safe?
As I see it, it stands to make it less safe, sir. I think that, anecdotally, in 24 years in law enforcement, I have seen instances where victims of domestic violence, for example, are told by their attacker, go ahead and call the cops. You know what's going to happen when they get here. You're gone. You're going back to Mexico. And unfortunately, victims are in many cases allowing themselves to be victimized, allowing their children to be victimized, for fear of the man in the badge coming to get them, whereas they should be seeing me as their protector. They're terrified of me. And to a first responder, the mere thought of that just rips your heart out.
And we can explain till hell freezes over that there's carves out. We carve out for witnesses and we carve out for... But that's not going to get out on the street.
No, sir. They don't understand it. And unfortunately, we're dealing with predators who are banking on that.
Right.
And they're telling them, go ahead, tell them that I took your government check. See what's going to happen. Tell them that I abused you. See what's going to happen. And no matter how much we get that message out, the bad guys are going to continue to get their message out to victimize them.
So we're going to have more bad hombres, not less.
Absolutely.
Right. In regards to sexual abuse in a family, same thing, right? They're not going to come forward
Absolutely.
and report that some child has been sexually abused or some woman has been battered and beaten, because sometimes the provider in that home has no documents and may even be the abuser.
Correct, sir. The way I see it, a victim allowing himself or herself to be victimized is one thing. Allowing their children to be victimized for fear of being deported out of the country is even worse. And it's something that I just can't, in good conscience, stand by and allow to happen.
So what you would ask of us is to give you some discretion on violent criminals, on people committing serious crimes, to continue to work with ICE, as all 254 counties are doing.
Yes, sir. Just allow my street officers to do what they do best.
Okay.
handle those one-on-one calls in the best way that they possibly can, bearing in mind that relationship that has to exist on the street level. And then let those that find their way into the jails, that's a whole different issue that to now we've complied with ICE's requests. I've been pleasantly surprised to see that ICE in some of these cases is not following through on deportation. They simply want to talk to these folks, and we're certainly not saying that we won't cooperate with them. What I'm asking for is the discretion on the street, that frontline officer that has to have that relationship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions? Thank you very much for being here and for your testimony and for what you do in keeping your community safe. We appreciate it.
My pleasure and privilege, sir. Thank you.